It's just water, don't worry. Hey guys, so I don't normally really post stuff like this anymore. I'm trying to kind of, you know, stick to my Disney movies, stuff like that content. I was thinking about this story a lot lately, and Sam and I got into a very deep discussion about our relationship a little while ago. We talked a lot about how there has just always been a lot of trust between the two of us. Literally since the day we started dating, like there has never been a moment where I've not trusted him, really, to be completely and totally honest. And we've just never had to worry about one another doing anything untrustworthy in our relationship or anything. So us talking really got me thinking about a past relationship of mine where there was absolutely zero trust. It was just absolutely completely different than what I am currently experiencing with Sam. I really debated telling this story, but I just kind of figured if this isn't your cup of tea, you can skip this video. You don't need to watch it. Maybe there's one person out there who can watch this and realize that there is happiness out there. You don't have to be with someone who makes you unhappy and someone who hurts you. I don't know, maybe this will be part of the help that they need in order to leave that relationship, whether it's a boyfriend or girlfriend or even just a friend or something that's just been really toxic in your life. So anyway, if you are currently going through something, this video is for you. Know that you are not alone, and there are people out there who love you and will support you no matter what. Before I get into the story, I'll just give a little bit of a trigger warning. I am going to talk about mental and emotional abuse, as well as I do talk about my own depression a little bit, not a lot, but I do mention my depression that I went through. So if that's something you'll feel comfortable hearing about, also please just maybe skip this video. I also wrote this out for myself so that I don't get off track on my computer here. So if I am looking to the side, I'm just kind of keeping myself on track. So just to let you know, because I didn't want to miss anything, but I also didn't want this to be unscripted and all over the place. So to begin the story, I started dating this person in October of 2011. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not even going to make up a name for him. I'll just call him my ex-boyfriend. For the first few months of our relationship, it was actually like amazing. I really truly don't remember fighting with him very much in those first like 8-ish months of our relationship, but at that 8-month mark I moved to Florida for a year, and he knew that. When we started dating, he knew that I was moving to Florida and I wasn't going to stay back for any reason. It was when I moved to Florida that our trust went from like normal to just completely plummeted. I just want to set the record straight. While I was in Florida for the year that I was there for the program I did, I never cheated on him. Not one single time. The closest I ever came to cheating on him was I went to a nightclub with a few friends, and a man that I didn't know attempted to dance with me, and I just politely said no thank you. He tried again and I said no thank you again, and that was the end of that. That was the closest I ever got to cheating, if you want to say that. I never did anything else with any males, females, anyone else while I was living there. I'm not trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I will say he had been in past relationships where he had been cheated on, as well as someone very significant in his life cheated on their partner, which caused a very large strain in his family. So I do understand that he did have trust issues, but at this point in a relationship, I hadn't done anything to earn any sort of distrust from him. Yes, I did have friends who were male, but I never did anything with them besides hanging out with them. I never even held another guy's hand or anything like that. Like, I never got anywhere remotely close to doing anything sort of intimate with another person, man, girl, whoever. There were certain things that I did do that I will get into later and I will explain, because I wasn't perfect in this relationship either, and I don't want this to come off completely one-sided, but I wasn't perfect in this relationship either. And there are certain things that I will discuss that I did that weren't good in this relationship. It was because of his initial distrust in me that led me to feel like I had no other choice but to do what I did end up doing. You may be wondering, what did you do to make him not trust you? Well, first of all, he didn't trust me before any of this started happening. But what I did was I began to lie to him a lot. Most of the time I lied about who I was with. Was that stupid? Of course it was. Of course it was so stupid. But it was because of his previous responses to me telling him the truth that I was trying to avoid. I didn't want to cause a fight with him because I wanted to hang out with a guy friend of mine, or even 3 girlfriends of mine and 1 male friend. I didn't want there to be a fight. I didn't want him mad at me. So I lied and said I'm going out with Barbara instead of Dexter. But I kid you not when I say I literally couldn't hang out with 1 single male friend or a large group of both male and female friends without him assuming for some reason I was sleeping with one of them or doing anything with one of them. Let me jump to the very first fight that I can recall where the distrust really began. And it was what caused me to start really feeling like I had to lie about things. So I moved to Florida in June and he came to visit me in October. And sometime between those 2 months, I went to Hollywood Studios with a male friend of mine. Originally it was supposed to be a couple of us going or a few of us going, but a few people canceled. One person was asked to work and some they just didn't want to go. So in the end, it only ended up being me and this one other male friend. Now, I'm not going to say his name, but I will say he was from Norway. So he didn't have a very common like Canadian American name. Like his name wasn't like Bob or David. It was very uncommon for like North American standards, I suppose. And when I told my ex-boyfriend I'm going to Hollywood Studios with this friend of mine and said his name, my boyfriend was okay with it. Like he's like, have fun, take lots of pictures. And at first I was so thrilled. I was like, oh my goodness, wow, he's fine with me hanging out with this male friend, just the 2 of us, and he trusts me and knows that nothing is going on. Even if this male friend had done something or attempted to do something, he trusted me that I would be like, no, I am in a relationship, I have a boyfriend, please don't do this. I will say that this male friend of mine did not do that. So I was so happy that he trusted me and I felt so proud of our relationship that I felt we were so strong. But no, I was very wrong. He came to visit me in October and I kept a journal of my entire year. I was in Florida. One day we were getting ready to go to one of the parks together. I was in the bathroom getting ready, and when I came out of the bathroom, he was sitting on the bed reading my journal. He knew that I was hanging out with friends that were male, so I wasn't worried about him reading my journal or anything, but he's reading my journal and he's like, I didn't know that this one person was a boy. I'm not going to say anyone's real names. None of these are real people. I said, besides Barbara, my best friend here is probably Betsy. We're friends with Joshua, who started on the same day as us, Gregory, and blank. Blank is the person I went to the park with by ourselves. We're all from Canada except blank. He's from Norway. So I'm assuming that's what he read when he realized that blank was a boy and not a girl. And from that point on, the trust, like I said, went from here to down here. It's funny now just thinking about it, because at the time I was so consumed in like trying to defend myself that it was like, wait, you were just reading my journal. Like, that's none of your business. Literally, like, I was rereading it today and there's nothing super scandalous in there or anything. It's literally like, I went to Magic Kingdom today and tomorrow I'm going to Animal Kingdom. So I mean, there's nothing super scandalous in there that I would want to keep a secret. But it's like, but you didn't know that. But at the time I was just so concerned about defending the fact that I thought it was okay that I was at a park with a male friend and nothing happened with this male friend. I was just so concerned about that and making him happy. I didn't care about the fact that he, in a way, betrayed my trust by reading my journal. Also, like to point out that I never lied to him and said that blank was a girl and I was at the park with my girlfriend. I never lied. I said I was at the park with blank. At that point, I hadn't lied to him or hidden a single thing from him. It was because of this initial event and how he reacted that caused me to start lying in the first place. This is when the trust started to go completely and totally downhill. And when I say I couldn't do anything without him being mad at me and getting upset at me, I do mean anything. Literally, whether it involved a boy, another girlfriend, or didn't involve a single person at all and I was the only person involved. Few examples when I say literally everything caused a fight with him. I told him I was going to Magic Kingdom with my friend Tori, and he's mad at me because he wanted to Skype that day. He didn't tell me this. I was just supposed to know. I told him a bunch of us were going to see Jurassic Park together because Jurassic Park was re-released into theaters, and he was mad because he specifically wasn't going to watch it because if we can't watch it together, we shouldn't watch it at all. You're telling me I'm not allowed to go see one of my favorite movies in theaters just because you wanted us to see it together? First of all, we didn't know it was coming into theaters, and second of all, by the time I get home, it's not going to be in theaters anymore, and third of all, it's my favorite movie and I'm gonna do whatever I want. One time I went to Walmart and I missed my bus, so I was late getting home, and he was mad at me and accused me of being with someone because I was late. I told him straight up, I'm going to Universal Studios with Tori, Allison, and our one male friend. And at first he was okay with it, but then when I posted photos of our day, he was mad that I was standing next to our male friend in some of the photos. I told him I was going to the parks by myself, which, just like to mention, I did this lots of the time in the first few months of my program because honestly I had no friends, but randomly he like wouldn't believe me. Like there'd be days I'd go to the parks by myself and he'd be fine, but then there'd be days I'd go to the parks by myself and randomly he'd be so upset about it and so mad at me. He was like, you're obviously lying because why would someone want to watch the Disney fireworks by themselves? Maybe because I love the Disney fireworks? One time he literally made me like take my camera and film myself going around in a circle just to prove that I wasn't with anyone. But then when I sent him the video, he still didn't believe that I was by myself because there was one random guy off in the corner that looked too suspicious. He was obviously with me. I just told him to go over there while I filmed this quick video. Because you know, Disney World is never busy and never has other people there. I wish I was kidding about these things, but I'm not. At the end of this video, I am going to tell you and I'm going to explain to you why in the end I don't regret my relationship with him. However, I do wish so much that I could go back and redo my year in Disney World without him because there are so many things that I skipped out on, and I just know I would have had so much more fun without having the constant like worry on myself. If I do this, is he gonna be mad? If I do this, is it gonna start a fight between us? Because of that, I do wish I could redo my entire year in Florida. But like I said, I will discuss later why in the end I really don't regret the relationship. Before he did come and visit me, he kept telling me that he had a very important question he was going to ask me. And I kept asking him like, what is it? What is it? And he wouldn't tell me. He's like, I wanna tell you in person. I don't wanna tell you this over Skype. I remember saying to him, if you're gonna ask me to marry you, I'm gonna say no. I remember he got very upset and he was like, well, why would you say that? Not that that's what I was gonna say, but why would you say no? And I was like, one, I'm not gonna come home and I'm not gonna leave my program just because we're engaged, which means we will spend the first 8 months of our engagement apart, and I don't want that. 2, I'm only 20. I am not ready at all to be engaged. And 3, at this point we had only been dating for not even a year. I just wasn't ready to be engaged to someone that I hadn't known for a year, and especially quite a bit of that had been long distance. Just to compare, I consider my relationship with Sam extremely healthy and good, and we were together for 4 years before he finally proposed to me. And we're also quite a bit older than just being 20. So anyway, he came down to visit me. He didn't ask me to marry him. And to this day, this is gonna sound so horrible, but I almost wish he had asked me to marry him so that I would have said no, and that would have ended our relationship. I don't say that to sound like a horrible bitch or anything, and I don't say that because I wanted to break his heart, because like I said, at that point things were still really good. I just wish it had played out like that to prevent what happened further down the road from happening, and also give myself again that year at my program to have fun and not worry about him all the time. So anyway, you may be thinking, well, did things get better when you finally moved home from Florida because there wasn't that strain of the long distance anymore? God, no. I wish. No, I don't wish, because then who knows where things would be today. But no, things did not get better when I moved home from Florida. If anything, things got worse. There wasn't so much worrying that I was cheating on him anymore on a constant daily basis. However, if I thought I couldn't do anything in Florida without causing an argument, it was way worse for whatever reason when I got back home. I couldn't sit and eat dinner and then watch TV with my family without him getting mad and blowing up my phone that I wasn't texting him back. I don't even remember what this fight was about, but I remember we got into a huge fight because I went to see The Hangover 3 with my sister, my brother, and my sister's boyfriend. I honestly don't remember why we were fighting, but I just remember, not actually because we were just texting, but all caps screaming at each other for whatever frickin' reason because I went to see this movie with my sister, my brother, and her boyfriend. He absolutely and completely lost his mind at me when I told him that my sister bought a house and that I would be moving into it with her. If I made plans with friends, he was mad because I should have made plans with him first instead of with my friends, even though quite a few of my friends were in school out of town, so I didn't get to see them very often, but you know, I still should have made plans with him for the 2 days my friends were in town. Then, you know, every day him and I were both in town. One time I got my break late at work, and when I finally got my break, which was like maybe 30 to 45 minutes past when I was supposed to have it, I opened my locker and pulled out my cell phone, and I had multiple text messages and phone calls from him accusing me of taking my break and ignoring him and not texting or calling him during my lunch. When I finally was able to talk to him and explain to him my break was late, do you think he apologized and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize"? Oh no, then he got mad at me and said, "I don't understand why you can't just have your cell phone on you on the floor and text me whenever you can." I was a cashier at Costco. I never got a spare second to just text whoever I wanted. My phone was in my locker 100% of my shift because I didn't ever have time to text anyone. I remember one time I was hanging out with a friend of mine. She got her own apartment and she invited me over because I helped her move into her apartment. So she invited me over for dinner and we watched some movies, and he didn't believe me when I said it was just me and this friend. He thought that there was a party going on and that there was all these guys there, and he wanted me to take pictures to prove to him that we were the only people there. Another time too, I was watching TV with my sister and I literally had to put my phone on silent because he would not stop texting me and not stop calling me because I wasn't texting him back quick enough for his standards. It got so bad that at one point he called me and my sister told me, answer the phone and tell him you're watching TV with your sister and you will call him back when it's over. So I answered the phone and he started immediately getting mad at me, and it got to the point where my sister was so pissed off she took my cell phone from me, basically screamed at him saying Jodey is allowed to watch fucking TV with her sister. She doesn't need to text you back every 45 seconds just because you are so fucking insecure. Did that make him shape up? God fucking no. I was still feeling like I had to lie to him about things even after I got home from Florida. But again, it was for the stupidest things and it was to prevent further arguments from happening. For example, I lied to him and I told him I was working because I wanted to go to the mall with my sister without having to constantly feel like I had to text him the whole time. Because if I didn't text him back in like 10 seconds after he texted me, I would probably get a call from him and he would be pissed and that would lead to more fighting. Another time I lied to him was, I kid you not, I wanted to go driving. I was scheduled to have my driving test in a few days and I wanted to get some more practice in, so my aunt said she would take me out, but you know, he wanted to hang out with me, and when I told him I can't hang out, he wouldn't accept that, and so I had to make up a lie as to something that I couldn't get out of so I could learn to fucking drive before my driver's test. Well, not learn to drive, practice driving. Not only was I just like so freaking depressed all the time with everything that was going on and I was just in this horrible place in my life, but to top it off, I was losing so much sleep because we would be up until like 3 or 4 almost every single night fighting. There was actually a time I fell asleep on the phone fighting with him because I was just so goddamn exhausted. We were constantly in this cycle of abuse where we were fighting about the stupidest things, but then I would tell him, I don't think I want to be with you anymore, like I can't handle this anymore. Oh, then you know, he loves me and he's gonna change and he only is like this because he has trust issues. And if I would just stop lying to him and tell him the truth, he wouldn't be like this, even though when I did tell him the truth, this is what happened. He loved me, he'll change, he'll figure out his stuff, it's gonna be okay, let's not break up. So then things would be good for a few days, but then we'd start fighting again because I said I wanted to see the new Godzilla movie because Aaron Taylor Johnson was in it. I kid you not, that's another huge fight we got into. He asked me, do I want to go see the new Godzilla movie? And I said, sure, Aaron Taylor Johnson is in it. Yeah, that led to a fucking fight. And what makes matters even worse, and this is the point that I really want to get across to anyone who may be going through something similar, what made this whole thing so much worse is the fact that I made the choice not to tell anyone what was going on with all of this. I was so beyond embarrassed of how he treated me and how he got mad at me for the stupidest things, and that I couldn't do anything without causing an argument with him. When we actually did finally break up, my friends were shocked because they're like, we didn't even realize you guys had issues or anything. Like, they were shocked to learn the truth of what happened. And I was like, it's my fault. I didn't tell you guys. Like, I 100% put that on me. I didn't tell anyone what was going on. How could I ask for support from anyone when I was keeping this all to myself? If you are watching this, and if you are in any sort of relationship where a person is hurting you in any way, shape, or form, I hope you reach out, and I hope you tell someone that you truly trust what's going on. That way you have someone there for you, and you have someone in your court who will support you and be there for you and help you through what is going on in your life, because I didn't have that, and that is my fault. So this is me telling you, you got to tell someone what is going on, and let someone be there for you. I know it sucks, and I know it's embarrassing to have someone there for you who loves you and who's gonna tell you this isn't the way a person who loves you is supposed to treat you. It really makes things open up for you, and it really just makes you feel so much more supported. And so, like I said, if there's anything you take from this video, it's to tell someone what is going on and get help from someone. If there was anyone who was there for me during all this, it was my sister, and that's only because she heard and saw how much he was constantly texting me and calling me when I wasn't responding to him. I even told my sister, I want to break up with him. I don't want to be with him anymore. I just can't. I don't know why. I just couldn't. Like, when you're stuck in those relationships, you feel like you can't. So my sister actually came up with a plan to help me break up with him. She's like, one day, whenever you're ready, I'll drive you to his house. You go in there, you do what you need to do, and then you come out, and that way you're not driving yourself home and you're not driving sad or upset or anything. So we had this plan all set, and she's like, you just give me the word and we will go there. But that's not how I ended up breaking up with him. In preparation for this video, I watched probably 10 more videos about people who have been in abusive relationships, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a friend, or even a family member. I watched so many videos, and one similar theme that a lot of these people had was that they said there was one thing that happened with this person that was just basically the straw that broke the camel's back, that they were like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, I'm ending things. And it's really funny because that didn't happen for me. The day I ended things with my ex-boyfriend, we were actually having a decent amount of days. Like, we were in the good part of the cycle of abuse. I was at work and he texted me and said, do you want to come over after work and hang out? And I was like, absolutely, things are great. After work, I got into my car and I started driving to his house. And when I got into his car, I had absolutely zero intention of breaking up with him that day. But on my way to his house, a flip switched in my brain, and I don't know what it was, but I all of a sudden was like, I don't want to drive to his house anymore. I don't want to see him anymore. So I got to his place and we sat down together, and like I said, we were in the portion of the abuse cycle where he was very apologetic and he was very loving and he was very caring. When I started talking about serious things like ending things with him, he again got very emotional and very, but I don't want to end things with you, I promise I will change, just give me another chance. And I just said, like, the normal thing that most people say, like, I've given you how many chances? I can't do this anymore. I know I'm not perfect. I know I did things wrong. Like, I know I lied to you about things. But if you didn't treat me the way you treated me about the smallest things, I wouldn't have had to lie to you about those things. So I broke up with him. I left his house. And unfortunately, I wish I could say that that was the last time I saw him, but it wasn't. We broke up in May of 2014. We did talk a little bit in 2014, but not much. But then there was a very good portion of 2015 where I did talk to him pretty much every day. We did hang out a few times. And like I said, I don't regret our relationship. If anything, it taught me to know what I deserve in a partner, and it taught me to appreciate the small things that a person who does truly love you will do for you. And even small things, for example, allowing me to spend time with my friends and my family and not requiring me to constantly be in communication with them when I want to be able to just spend one-on-one time with a friend or a family member. I don't regret our relationship because of that, but what I do regret is giving him a second more of my time after we broke up. After we broke up, I should have just ended things there, not spoken to him, but I was stupid and I did continue to talk to him, and there were points in times where I thought maybe we could get back together. I'm so glad we didn't, but I wish so bad I had just left it that day in May and never looked back. So like I said, in 2015, I was just very depressed. I was talking to him and there were points in times when I wanted to get back together with him, and I was just so unhappy with other things in my life that when things happened with him, it just made things even worse for me. In September of 2015, that is when I decided that I was done. I didn't want him to be in my life anymore, and it was actually this point in my life where I began cutting a lot of people out of my life. I cut out a lot of toxic people from my life, and in October of 2015 I got a tattoo of something that really touched me and really helped me get through the entirety of the depression I went through in 2015. And I actually remember the last time I ever spoke to him. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. We went shopping and he texted me and said, "Hey, I saw a photo of your tattoo on Instagram and I just want to let you know that it's super cool." And I texted him back, and I wasn't mean or anything, but I said thank you. And then he texted me back again and said, "I just wanted to apologize that I didn't say happy birthday to you on your birthday. My birthday is October 6th, and I think I got my tattoo maybe on, like, I don't know, the 15th or something, a little while later after my birthday." But he's like, "I'm sorry I didn't say happy birthday to you. My phone got shut off." And I literally just texted him back and said, "It's fine." And that is the very last thing I ever said to him. At that point, I was so over him. There had been a time in like 2014, 2015-ish that a long time had gone by without me talking to him, and I was worried about him, trying to figure out something and wondering what I did wrong, even though I did nothing wrong. But when this span of time went by without talking to him, I was completely and totally fine. After that last text, I was just so happy to be done. Like, he didn't text me back for an hour, and then a day, and then a week, and then a month, and then now 5 years, and I don't care. It did take me a little while to learn how to be happy again. Yes, I was depressed, and I figured out a way to get myself out of my depression, but I didn't feel happy yet. And I think it was very important for myself to figure out how to be happy again before I started dating someone new. But the last time I spoke to him was in October of 2015, and I didn't meet and start dating Sam until July of 2016. But I really needed that time in my life to figure out what I wanted in my life and what I wanted for myself, and how I was going to do those things for myself, whether it was like financially, career-wise, or just happiness-wise. I needed to figure out those things for myself. I knew I couldn't have someone else in my life being that source of anything for me any longer. Honestly, I think that's a very important thing for any relationship, is you need to figure those things out for yourself, because if you aren't happy and then you meet someone and you're relying on that person for your happiness, if you lose that person, you lose your happiness. and that's just not healthy in any way at all. When I now think about my relationship with Sam and compare it to my past relationship, it does amaze me that I stuck around and put up with this for so long, or the fact that I just tried so hard to make it work with him. Just to compare a few things, my relationship with Sam, my relationship with my ex-boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend didn't know the passcode on my phone, and I refused to give it to him because he would look through my phone and find the smallest things to be mad at me about. He was looking through my phone and he found a text conversation with a male coworker of mine, and I kid you not, the conversation went like this: "Hey, can we please switch shifts? I'll take your shift on Saturday if you can take my shift on Thursday." "Sure, no problem. Fill out the paperwork and I will sign it next time I'm in." That was the conversation, and it led to a massive fight because, one, why is this guy texting you? Who is this guy? Why would you give him your number? And two, well, I wanted to hang out with you on Thursday. I haven't asked you if you want to hang out on Thursday, but I just assumed you're off, so we should obviously hang out together, and now you're going to pick up a shift. But then, compared to Sam and me completely know each other's passcodes and everything on our phones. And I have no problem with Sam taking my cell phone, and he has no problem with me taking his cell phone, because there's nothing we're hiding from each other. I take his phone all the time to play games on his phone because he has one particular game that is like a long running game that we constantly just like pick up and play every once in a while. If he's making dinner or something, I will take his phone and play this game, and he has no problem with it. If he did the same on my phone, I would have no problem with it. There is one thing on my phone that I can think of that I wouldn't want Sam to see, and do you want to know what that is? It is the photos of my wedding dress. There has never been a single moment in my entire relationship with Sam where I have been worried that he's texting another girl or talking to another person in an intimate way. And even just the thought of actually taking his phone with the sole purpose of looking through his messages to see who he's been texting is baffling to me. I would never consider doing that because I would never think he's doing that. Not ever. Fun fact, and I actually asked Sam if I could include this, and he had no problem with me including this. When we first started dating, he had Tinder on his cell phone, because what single 25-year-old guy didn't have Tinder on their cell phone? He told me probably on our second date that he did have Tinder, but he wasn't talking to anyone on it because he was seeing me. We weren't official at this point or time. It was probably only our second or third date that he told me this. So we weren't official, but he did tell me, I have Tinder, but I'm not using it right now. A few more weeks had gone by, and he told me I deleted Tinder off my phone. To be completely honest, if he told me he had Tinder on his phone on our second and third date, but he never told me he deleted it, I would have just assumed at this point that he had deleted it. It never bothered me because I trusted him. Like, there was just always this trust between us. There is one moment that sticks out in my mind that really and truly was the first initial thing that showed me the difference between my relationship with my ex-boyfriend and my relationship with Sam. We had been together for a few months, and at this point I was living with my aunt. She was working an evening shift, so she didn't get home until like 10 o'clock at night. I had worked that day, so I was tired. I was ready for bed, and I was laying in bed in my pajamas. Sam and I were on the phone. We were talking to each other when I heard the garage door open, that my aunt had come home. So I said to Sam, "Hey, can you hang on just a minute? I'll call you right back. I just need to ask my aunt something now that she's home." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." So I go downstairs to talk to my aunt, and she sees that I'm in my pajamas, and she says, "Oh shoot, I didn't realize you were already ready for bed. I was actually gonna come home and pick you up because me and her work friends were gonna go out to a bar, and she came to get me so that I could come." And I was like, you know what? It's Friday night. I'm gonna get dressed quickly. I'd love to come to the bar with you and your work friends. So as I was getting changed, I texted Sam and I said, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but my aunt just got home and she asked if I want to go out to a bar with her and some of her work friends, so I'm not going to call you back. I hope that's okay." If this had been my ex-boyfriend that I had said this to, he would have lost his mind. He would have asked who I'm going to the bar with, why I feel like I need to go out to the bar on a Friday night with my aunt and her work friends, and it would have just led to a massive fight, which in turn would have completely and totally ruined my evening. And at that point it would be like, why the hell did I even bother going out? I texted Sam this, and he responded with, "No need to say sorry, go have fun." And it was at that moment that I realized that even though I was in a relationship with this man, that I was still allowed to go out with my friends, spend time with my family, and, you know, go to the bar with my 50-year-old aunt and her 40 to 50-year-old work friends, and not have to feel guilty about it. I have done so many things in the past 4+ years that I have been with Sam that I would have never done if I was still in a relationship with my ex-boyfriend. Or if I had done them, I would have had to lie about them. These are what some of those things are. I went to Disney World with my best friend and Disneyland with her again and our other best friend. I've had friends over, and at the last minute we decide we want to go see a late night movie, so we go see a movie last minute. I've stayed out at restaurants and bars with my friends till 3 a.m. and even one time I was at the bar with my friend and Sam texted me something, and I kid you not, I responded with, "I'm with my friend right now, so I'm not going to text you." And he said, "Have fun." And then just little freaking things that, you know, couldn't do before, like having dinner with my family, watching TV with my family, and not having to worry that I'm not texting him back quick enough, or even just going grocery shopping or going to the mall with my sister. Literally the only time I have ever lied to Sam, if you even can consider it lying, I bug him and say, "I didn't get you a birthday present." Or if I go to the store and he's like, "Hey, while you're at the store, can you see if this one movie is there?" And then I come home and say, "Oh shoot, no, they didn't have it, but they did have it. I just, you know, want to give it to him for a present or something." Those are the only times in the entire 4 years we have been together that I have lied to Sam. It has been over 5 years since I have spoken to my ex-boyfriend. I can honestly say I don't miss him. I don't wish or care or want to know what's going on in his life. I don't want him in my life in any capacity. And like I said, I don't know what he's doing, and I don't care. If I ever ran into him and he asked me how I'm doing and how my life is going, I would tell him the truth. I would tell him that I am now with this amazing man. Him and I own a home together and we're currently planning our wedding. I would tell him that I have a job that I love. I have 2 beautiful nephews and a beautiful niece who are the most adorable children in the whole world, and I love them with all of my heart. I have the greatest puppy in the whole world. I may not have a lot of friends, but the few friends I do have are my best friends, and I love them so much, and they mean the world to me. And I would tell him that I am happy, and I think that is the most important thing out of all of this. If you've made it all this way, thank you so much for watching. I really hope I've given you some sort of guidance if that is what you were looking for. If you are struggling in any form of relationship with a person, please, please, please reach out to someone. You are not alone. Mental abuse is a horrible thing, and I wanted to share my story for you and for all those people out there who are or have gone through something similar. I just want you all to know you are loved. You deserve happiness. You do not deserve to be treated any less than perfect by anyone in your life, whether that is a partner, a family member, or a friend. And if you are that one person who needs a friend to help you through whatever you are going through, I hope that I can be that friend for you. Thanks for watching, everyone.